China is giving a stern warning to the United States. Donald Trump had announced that he is going to implement 100% tariffs on China. They are implementing a response here, and it's not good. Now, first, I want to show you guys this. And yes, it would impact all of us, especially if you're a small business owner as well. Bricktop says Donald Trump needs to go to jail. He's a thief. He is literally robbing people internationally. He announced 100% tariffs on China and sending the U.S. stock market into a death spiral. Let's take a look at those numbers. Here we go. This is not okay. It's really not okay. Again, this fucking con artist needs to go to jail. Someone needs to deal with this guy. Let's look. There it is. So yeah, the stock market is tanking. That's one picture. That's actually the S&P 500 index. Let's go to this one, the US 100 index. Yeah, these tariffs are not, I'm telling you guys, and you can wiggle your way through all of this. Now, China, I'm trying to tell you guys, this is not the country you want to mess around with. The reality is we just don't produce much here in the United States. So they're not happy, of course, about the 100% tariffs. Listen to their response.
That recently, the US side has continuously introduced a series of restrictions and sanctions against China have seriously harmed China's interests. China firmly opposes this. The United States not only fails to reflect on itself, but also threatens with high tariffs, which is not the way to engage with China. China urges the United States to promptly correct its erroneous actions, guided by the important consensus from the two heads of states' call, to resolve respective concerns through dialogue on the basis of equality, respect, and reciprocity, properly manage differences, and maintain the stable, healthy, and sustainable development of China-US relations. If the United States insists on acting willfully, China will also resolutely take corresponding measures to safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. I want to point out that China consistently opposes the broadening of the national security concept and taking discriminatory actions against specific national enterprises. Relevant countries should genuinely adhere to market principles and not politicize economic and trade issues. China safeguards its legitimate rights and interests. The determination to safeguard our interests is unwavering.
So here's the thing. Notice what he said. Notice how he said that is not the way to engage with China. So yeah, this is not good. So here's the thing. I know when we talk about the tariffs, like a lot of times people think, oh, that's just mainly going to impact the big corporations. That's not true. Small businesses are feeling impact of tariffs. I told you guys before about the farmers that are feeling these impacts, because the thing is that they need equipment, they need products, they need supplies. And oftentimes a lot of these things are made in China. They're not made in the United States. So even if you go to a local business, mom and pop shop or whatever, you may be surprised to know that a lot of the materials that they use in their shop come from China to make those products that they sell you. So implementing 100% tariff on China is absolutely insane. And I know some of the teeny boppers out there and some of the young adults, some of the Gen Z kids, I know some of them that love to shop at Shein, and I know they ain't having that. I know they are not having that. We're talking about a country that has really much tried to eradicate poverty, doesn't have the amount of homelessness that we have in the United States. They have spent a lot of money on their infrastructure. Our infrastructure fails in comparison to a country like China. They invested in their people. They invested in their communities. We did not. We invested our money in defense, not you and I personally, but our government. Our government invested money into defense. They invested money into Israel. That's why we have bridges falling apart. That's why we have potholes in all these damn roads that they claim they fixed and the pothole's still there. That's why. So the US, the West, is trying to hit back at China because China is a strong competitor. And if things continue the way that they're going, we're going to be left behind. And I do have to say this. All empires eventually fall. We can learn this from the Roman Empire. The United States is in a period of decline. We climbed and climbed and climbed, and now we've gotten to that point where we are falling. And the new superpower that is emerging economically is China. So implementing 100% tariffs on China would be a devastation. And yes, it would impact us. And I don't know if you guys have been noticing, because I've been looking around. The prices are still going up. I go to the grocery store at least once a week because I don't like to get a lot of groceries at one time. That's not my thing. So I usually go weekly so that like produce doesn't spoil or anything like that. The prices keep going up. And for those of you who are the budgeters in your household and you keep track of all this stuff, you know what it's supposed to cost. So this is the last thing that we want. And I want to get into a little bit more detail here. China warns US of retaliation over Trump's 100% tariff threat. Beijing says it will act if the US president does not stand down. Let's get into this. Beijing has told the US it will retaliate if Donald Trump fails to back down on his threat to impose 100% tariffs on Chinese imports, as investors brace for another bout of trade war turmoil. China's Commerce Ministry blamed Washington for raising trade tensions between the two countries after Trump announced on Friday that he would impose the additional tariffs on China's exports to the US, along with new controls on critical software by November 1st. Willful threats of high tariffs are not the right way to get along with China. China's position on the trade war is consistent. We do not want it, but we are not afraid of it. If the US insists on going the wrong way, China will surely take resolute measures to protect its legitimate rights and interests. Let me pause here for just a second as well. Guys, maybe this is a crazy idea. What if we stop putting so much focus on what China is doing and we started building manufacturing right here in this country? And I know people have told me, well, manufacturing's on its way back. Yeah. I'm talking about like right now, right? Why are we still in a position where we are depending on another country in order to produce goods right here in the United States? Once upon a time, there were a lot of factories in this country. My grandparents, they migrated from South Carolina and they moved to Baltimore, Maryland to work in those factories. Some of you may have had, grandparents or parents that came from the South and moved to Chicago. They moved up north. It was part of the Great Migration to work in those factory jobs. Some of you may have had that, right? What happened to all those factories? What happened to these cities like Pittsburgh, Detroit, that Rust Belt area? A lot of factories were removed from Baltimore, right? So what happened was people became greedy. These owners of these businesses became greedy and they realized, you know what? It's cheaper if I just buy these parts from overseas, then I can cut some of the workers that I have and I can still make more money. At one point, we had a lot of manufacturing here in this country. Is it China's fault that that's gone? No. So instead of focusing on China, we should be focusing on building manufacturing here in the United States and get it to a point where we don't have to depend on getting those products from China. Now, another thing, China has those rare earth minerals too. And I want to tell you something about this. This is something that the US government depends on for defense because they use those minerals, some of them, to build weapons. And ultimately, I kind of feel like that's what this is really about. But it's not their fault that capitalists here in this country became greedy and allowed those jobs to go by the wayside. I don't know. Some of you watching, you may have been alive during that time. I don't know. But from what I understand, things were very different. It goes on to say here, Trump and senior U.S. administration officials opened a door to a China trade deal on Sunday as market futures showed us U.S. stock market drop. Don't worry about China, he says. It'll all be fine. Highly respected Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it, Trump wrote on Truth Social. So, yeah, the USA doesn't want to help China. The USA wants China to not be an economic powerhouse anymore. They want the US to be in that top spot, and China is in the way. You can see this here. Dow futures showed a drop of 887 points ahead of the stock market's open on Monday. The index dropped sharply lower on Friday after reignited fears of a trade war with China when threatened to impose 100% tariffs on Chinese imports after China said it would restrict rare earth exports. So here you go. There's those rare earth exports. So I really think that, and this is just how I feel, I think we need to leave China alone and we need to focus on building things here. That's how I say it. When I was growing up, they used to tell me, oh, China's bad, China's evil, and all this kind of stuff. Same thing they said about a lot of the Arab countries, like, oh, these are and all that type of stuff, right? But fool me once, because once I started doing my own research, I realized, oh, so this is what this is really about. China's doing better than us economically. This is the funny part. This is the funny part here. Someone shared this on X. They said, I hold the cards. And that's supposed to be Xi Jinping says the cards are made in China. Oh my God. I'm sorry. It's funny, but it's true. It's true. Oh my gosh. Whoo. Yeah. I hope that gets worked out because God knows if you think the prices are bad now, wait for it. Wait for it. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.